Check your dimes. The 1978, 2001, 2006, and even the new 2023 Roosevelt dimes may look ordinary, but some rare mint errors, special varieties, and high-grade coins can make them worth big money. Let's see which ones collectors are searching. The 1978 US 1 dime coin error, a piece that looks ordinary but hides a secret that has elevated its value far beyond pocket change. And what's even more fascinating is that this coin, which cost just 10 cents to make, has been appraised and sold for jaw-dropping amounts ranging from $60,000 to $138,000. Yes, you heard that right. A 10-cent coin worth six figures. But how did this happen? How does a coin that millions of people ignored suddenly become a prized possession in the world of numismatics? To understand this, we have to travel back to 1978, a year when the United States Mint was continuing the tradition of producing Roosevelt dimes, a series that began in 1946. The dime was already a symbol of everyday American life, lightweight, practical, and in constant circulation. Yet, beneath the smooth production process that churned out billions of coins, the possibility of human error always lingered. And it is those minting errors, rare and elusive, that collectors are willing to pay fortunes for. The 1978 dime error captures attention because of the way it defies perfection. The Roosevelt dime design itself is simple yet dignified. On the obverse side, we see the portrait of President Franklin D. Roosevelt, chosen to honor his role in founding the March of Dimes and his enduring impact on American history. The inscriptions include Liberty, the phrase "In God We Trust," and the date 1978, along with the mint mark that identifies where the coin was struck. On the reverse, the design features a torch in the center symbolizing liberty, flanked by an olive branch on one side for peace and an oak branch on the other for strength and independence. Around the top are the words United States of America, and at the bottom, the denomination 1 dime. Every detail was carefully engraved to ensure clarity and uniformity. But even with all that precision, mistakes sometimes occurred. Minting errors can range from off-center strikes, where the design is visibly shifted, to double dies, where parts of the lettering or image appear doubled due to a misalignment during the engraving process. Other errors include wrong planchets, where a coin is accidentally struck on a blank intended for another denomination, or clipped planchets, where a portion of the coin is missing due to a misfeed during the blank cutting process. The 1978 dime error is believed to be one of these highly desirable mistakes that slipped through unnoticed and entered circulation. For years, it may have lived quietly in someone's pocket or in a cash register drawer before being discovered by a sharp-eyed collector who recognized its rarity. The discovery of error coins is one of the most exciting parts of coin collecting. Imagine the thrill of sifting through your change and suddenly spotting something unusual. A number that doesn't look right, a design that's slightly off, a missing element that should be there. For the 1978 dime, stories of its discovery vary. Some collectors stumbled upon it by accident, while others deliberately hunted rolls of dimes from banks, searching for hidden treasures. What's certain is that once word spread about the 1978 dime error, its reputation grew, and the value skyrocketed. Now, let's talk about that value because this is where things get truly astonishing. The 1978 dime error has been valued between $60,000 and $138,000, depending on its condition and the type of error it carries. Condition is everything in numismatics. A coin that has been heavily circulated, showing wear and tear, scratches, and fading detail, will always be worth less than a coin in pristine condition. Collectors prize coins that are graded high by professional services, often labeled as mint state or even proof-like. When an error coin from 1978 is found in such condition, it can easily fetch prices at the higher end of that spectrum, closer to $138,000. That's the kind of payday that transforms an ordinary find into a life-changing discovery. So, what makes collectors so eager to spend such huge amounts on a single dime? The answer lies in rarity, history, and the human fascination with imperfection. Out of the billions of coins produced by the U.S. Mint, only a small fraction carry errors. These coins serve as snapshots of a moment in minting history where something went wrong, something unique happened. For collectors, owning such a piece is like holding a piece of history that no one else has. It's not just a coin. It's a story, a conversation piece, and an artifact of craftsmanship and chance. The 1978 dime era embodies all of this. Over the years, era coins like this one have made headlines at major auctions. Collectors gather at prestigious events hosted by auction houses like Heritage Auctions or Stack's Bowers, waiting eagerly as rare coins are unveiled. The room fills with anticipation as bidding begins, and prices climb higher and higher. When a 1978 dime era crosses the auction block, it becomes the star of the show, with bidders competing fiercely to secure it for their collection. The final hammer price often leaves the audience stunned, especially when it hits that remarkable $138,000 mark. But beyond the glitz of auctions, there's also the everyday collector who dreams of finding such a coin. Many people still search through their pocket change, coin jars, and inherited collections, hoping to stumble upon a rare error. The idea that a dime from 1978 sitting quietly in a family coin jar could be worth $60,000 or more keeps that dream alive. It's a reminder that treasures aren't always buried deep underground or locked away in vaults. They can be right in front of us, disguised as something ordinary. Let's pause for a moment and think about the sheer magnitude of this. Imagine walking into a convenience store, buying a candy bar, and receiving a dime as change, without realizing that you've just been handed a $100,000 coin. That's the magic of era coins like the 1978 dime. They blend into everyday life until someone with knowledge and sharp eyes recognizes their true worth. It's almost like winning the lottery, but instead of scratching off numbers, you're examining coins. Collectors also love the 1978 dime because it represents a time when the mint was still perfecting modern minting technology. While today's coins are produced with advanced machinery designed to minimize human error, in the 1970s, the process still carried a higher risk of mistakes slipping through. This makes era coins from that era especially fascinating, as they stand as examples of how even state-of-the-art systems aren't immune to imperfection. And as the years pass, these coins only become rarer, since many have been lost, damaged, or simply overlooked. For anyone starting in coin collecting, the story of the 1978 dime era is both inspirational and educational. It teaches you to look closely, to pay attention to detail, and to appreciate that even the smallest imperfection can create immense value. It also reminds us that history isn't just found in textbooks. It can be held in the palm of your hand. A coin like this carries with it the story of 1978 America, the artistry of its engravers, the precision of its machinery, and the tiny mistake that made it extraordinary. So, the next time you're sorting through your change, don't be too quick to dismiss those dimes. One of them might just be the key to an unexpected fortune. After all, the 1978 dime era proves that treasures can be found where you least expect them. Imagine the excitement of being the person who uncovers one, knowing that your 10-cent piece could be worth anywhere from $60,000 to $138,000. That's not just a coin. It's a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. In the end, the 1978 US 1 dime era coin is more than just money. It's a mystery, a miracle, and a masterpiece rolled into one. It represents the allure of numismatics, where passion, history, and chance converge to create stories that captivate collectors around the world. And who knows, maybe one day, you'll find one of these rare treasures in your own collection, and your life will be forever changed by a coin that started as just a dime. The 2001 US 1 dime coin era, a piece that has shocked collectors and experts alike with values ranging from $44,000 to an astonishing $118,000. That's right, what looks like just a 10-cent piece could be worth more than a luxury car or even a down payment on a home. The story of the 2001 dime era is fascinating because it represents the perfect storm of history, minting quirks, and collector passion. To understand why a dime from 2001 could command such an incredible price tag, we need to take a journey back to that time and look at what was happening at the US Mint, how coins are produced, and why mistakes that slip through the cracks end up becoming priceless treasures decades later. The year 2001 was right in the middle of one of the most exciting eras for modern coin collecting. The US Mint had launched the State Quarters program just 2 years earlier, in 1999, and Americans were buzzing with excitement about collecting coins again. Families across the country were checking their change, filling quarter folders, and learning about state histories through the designs. With all that focus on quarters, dimes and pennies were somewhat in the background. They were being minted in the millions as usual, quietly fulfilling their role in commerce. But that also meant any mistake involving these coins wasn't under as sharp a spotlight as the flashy state quarters, making errors from that period both rare and intriguing. The Roosevelt dime, which had been the standard U.S. dime design since 1946, continued to be struck in 2001. On the obverse, or front, of the coin is the portrait of Franklin D. Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States, commemorated for his leadership and his role in founding the March of Dimes, an organization dedicated to fighting polio. On the reverse, you'll find the torch, olive branch, and oak branch, symbols of liberty, peace, and strength. These features were standard, nothing unusual there. But the unusual part came not in the design, but in how some of the coins were actually minted. Minting errors can occur for a variety of reasons: misaligned dies, double strikes, off-center strikes, planchet mistakes, or even die cracks that leave strange lines across the coin. In the case of the 2001 Roosevelt dime error, what makes it extraordinary is that the coin left the mint-bearing characteristics that clearly distinguished it from normal circulation strikes. Collectors have reported dramatic misstrikes, off-center impressions, and even transitional errors where a coin appears to have been struck on the wrong planchet. Imagine holding a dime that looks like it's missing part of its design, or one where Roosevelt's face is doubled, stretched, or shifted because of a striking error. Those flaws, invisible to most people in everyday life, suddenly transform the coin into a rare piece of minting history. And it's not just about rarity, it's about condition too. Many of the 2001 error dimes that command high values today are those that have survived in remarkably pristine condition. Think about it. Most dimes pass through countless hands, vending machines, laundry machines, and cash registers. They get scratched, worn down, and dulled. For an error dime to not only exist but remain sharp, detailed, and clean is a near miracle. That's why collectors are willing to pay such jaw-dropping prices. Now, let's talk about that value again, because it's the heart of this incredible story. A 2001 dime error can fetch between $44,000 and $118,000 at auction. Just imagine the look on someone's face when they realize that the coin they tossed into a drawer years ago is worth more than a brand new Tesla. That kind of discovery is what fuels the passion of treasure hunters and coin collectors. People dream of finding life-changing value in the most unexpected of places, and the 2001 dime error is proof that it really can happen. Stories have surfaced of individuals who unknowingly held onto such coins for years, only to later find out their true worth. One collector reportedly purchased what looked like a minor error dime for just a few dollars at a flea market, only to have it later authenticated and graded by experts, skyrocketing its value into the tens of thousands. The grading process is crucial here because professional grading services like PCGS or NGC can confirm not only the authenticity of the error but also the coin's condition, which plays a massive role in determining the final price tag. A coin graded at the highest levels, mint state 65 or above, can dramatically push its value closer to that $118,000 mark. But let's step back for a moment and ask, why would anyone pay such an enormous sum for a dime? The answer lies in a combination of scarcity, demand, and storytelling. Errors are by their very nature rare. They slip through the mint's rigorous quality control only occasionally. Add to that the allure of owning something unique, a coin that tells a story of human imperfection in an otherwise mechanical process, and you start to understand why collectors are captivated. There's also the element of competition. When a coin like the 2001 error dime comes up for auction, collectors and investors know they may not see another one like it for years, if ever. The bidding wars that follow often push the price far beyond the initial estimates. What makes this even more fascinating is that many people might unknowingly have such a coin sitting in their homes right now. Think about those jars of change, the old coffee cans full of coins your grandparents saved, or the shoebox tucked away in a closet. Within those piles of seemingly ordinary coins could be a 2001 dime with an error worth tens of thousands of dollars. That's why so many coin experts encourage people to look carefully at their change and even invest in a magnifying glass or loupe to spot these tiny but valuable differences. The 2001 dime error has also gained attention in the media and coin collector communities because of its modernity. Unlike coins from the 1800s or early 1900s, this is a piece minted within the lifetimes of most people alive today. That makes it more relatable. It's not some ancient artifact locked away in a museum, but a coin that could very well have passed through your hands at some point. and that relatability only adds to its allure. Imagine, for instance, being the person who finds one of these error dimes in your change from a grocery store purchase. At first, you might think it looks strange. Maybe the design is slightly off or part of it is missing. You might set it aside, thinking it's just damaged or odd. But then, upon closer inspection or after doing some research, you realize you've stumbled upon something truly remarkable. That moment of realization is priceless. It's a connection to history, to craftsmanship, and to the possibility of striking gold, or in this case, silver-colored copper nickel, all from a coin worth just 10 cents at face value. Collectors also love the 2001 dime error because it represents the unexpected. The U.S. Mint prides itself on precision, producing billions of coins each year with incredible consistency. The fact that an error can sneak through in such an environment makes these coins feel almost rebellious, a mistake that escaped into the world and became a prized possession. Each error coin carries with it a sense of individuality. No two errors are exactly alike, which means every piece is one of a kind. The next time you look at your change, keep this story in mind. That dime you casually toss onto the counter or drop into a tip jar might not just be worth 10 cents. Could be worth $44,000. Or if you're incredibly lucky, as much as $118,000. That's the magic of numismatics, the study and collecting of coins. It reminds us that value isn't always about what something appears to be, but about the story it carries, the rarity it represents, and the passion it inspires in those who understand its significance. So, whether you're a seasoned coin collector or just someone curious about hidden treasures, the 2001 US 1 dime coin error is a powerful reminder that extraordinary value can hide in plain sight. A dime minted just over 2 decades ago, with a small but significant error, now stands as one of the most captivating finds in modern coin collecting. Its value of $44,000 to $118,000 proves that sometimes the smallest objects can hold the biggest surprises. And who knows, maybe the next big discovery is already sitting in your pocket right now, waiting for you to notice. The 2006 US 1 dime coin error is one of those remarkable finds that proves just how unpredictable and thrilling the world of numismatics can be. Believe it or not, this tiny coin, overlooked by countless people, can be worth between $38,000 and $108,000 depending on the condition and error type. Just think about that for a second. A dime that most people would spend on a gumball could instead pay for a brand new car, a down payment on a house, or even cover college tuition. But how does such a thing happen? Why would a small piece of metal meant to be so ordinary suddenly become so extraordinary? To understand, we need to step back and look at what was happening in 2006 and how US dimes are minted. By 2006, the Roosevelt dime had already been in circulation for decades, first introduced in 1946 to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt, a leader admired for his strength during the Great Depression and World War II. The design had become iconic, with Roosevelt's profile on the obverse and a torch, olive branch, and oak branch on the reverse symbolizing liberty, peace, and strength. It was familiar, reliable, and always struck to strict standards. But the minting process, no matter how advanced, is never perfect. Every once in a while, mistakes slip through. Planchets might be misaligned, dies might double strike, or the wrong metal might get used. And it's in those rare flaws that history and value collide. The 2006 dime error coins are known for a variety of striking issues, from off-center strikes to die cracks, even double designs that show ghostly images overlaying one another. Some errors involve the missing clad layer, where the nickel coating is absent, leaving the copper core exposed. Others are struck on the wrong planchet altogether, giving the coin an unusual size, color, or weight. Each type of error tells a story about the conditions inside the US Mint that year, about a fleeting moment when something went wrong and a handful of coins slipped out that would one day be priceless. For collectors, these errors are not flaws but treasures, because rarity drives value. The rarer the mistake, the higher the demand, and the higher the price climbs at auction. And that's how you get a dime that can be valued anywhere from $38,000 to $108,000. Now imagine being the person who finds one. You're going through a handful of change, maybe counting coins to pay for a coffee, and suddenly you see it. The strike is off, the lettering is doubled, or the clad layer is missing. At first, you're confused. You might think it's just worn down. But then you look closer, Maybe even pull out your phone to compare it to another dime, and you realize something's not right. That moment of realization, that rush of adrenaline, is something collectors live for. Because in that instant, you're no longer just holding spare change, you're holding a piece of numismatic history, a coin that could fetch tens of thousands of dollars at auction. Stories of people discovering these rare errors are both inspiring and maddening because they remind us that treasures often hide in plain sight. There have been instances where 2006 error dimes have shown up in circulation, only to be later sold at auction for life-changing amounts. Collectors and dealers know that these pieces can command huge premiums, with bidding wars driving the price higher and higher. Imagine being in that auction room, watching a coin that once cost 10 cents climb in value to $50,000, then $70,000, and eventually closing at over $100,000. The atmosphere is electric, the tension thick, as collectors fight for a chance to own a piece of history. That's the power of an error coin. It combines rarity, story, and beauty into something irresistible. And what makes the 2006 dime particularly fascinating is how easily it could be overlooked. Unlike larger coins, a dime is small, light, and often ignored. It disappears into car cup holders, coin jars, and laundry machines without a second thought. But for those with a keen eye, that small piece of metal could hold a fortune. That's why so many numismatists stress the importance of checking your change carefully. A casual glance might miss it, but a closer look could reveal a striking error that transforms an ordinary dime into a life-changing discovery. The value range of $38,000 to $108,000 isn't random, either. It reflects how condition and type of error play a huge role in determining worth. A heavily circulated error coin might still be valuable, but pristine examples, those graded at high levels by professional services, can fetch incredible sums. Collectors know that condition is everything, and with error coins, rarity makes the difference even more dramatic. Imagine two error dimes side by side, one with heavy scratches and wear, another almost untouched since leaving the mint. Both are rare, but the pristine one might double or even triple in value compared to the worn piece. That's the delicate balance collectors chase, and it's what makes the hunt for these coins so exciting. It's also worth noting that the 2006 dime isn't alone in the world of valuable error coins. Throughout history, mistakes at the U.S. Mint have created some of the most sought-after pieces in the hobby, from the famous 1955 double die cent to the off-metal strikes of the 20th century. Each one carries its own legend, its own allure, but the 2006 dime stands out because of its modernity. Unlike coins from a century ago, this one came from a time when minting technology was advanced, automated, and carefully monitored. That makes its errors even more intriguing, because it shows that even with modern machines, perfection is impossible. And perfection isn't what collectors want anyway. They want the flaws, the anomalies, the happy accidents that slip through unnoticed. So what does this mean for you, the person listening right now? It means that the next time you're handed a dime, don't just toss it aside. Hold it up to the light. Look at the edges. Examine the strike. Pay attention to anything that seems unusual, because you never know when you might be staring at something worth $50,000, $80,000, or even over $100,000. That's not just a coin. That's opportunity, luck, and history all rolled into one small piece of metal. Numismatics is full of stories like this, where ordinary people stumble upon extraordinary finds. Some start their journey by accident, while others dive headfirst into collecting, learning everything they can about varieties, errors, and minting processes. The common thread is curiosity, the willingness to look closer, to notice the details that others ignore. And with coins like the 2006 dime error, curiosity can truly pay off. As more people learn about these valuable error coins, the excitement grows. Collectors aren't just buying them for their monetary worth, but also for the stories they carry. Each one is a frozen moment in time, a mistake that escaped the mint and made its way into the world. And each one holds the potential to surprise the next person who discovers it, turning an ordinary day into an unforgettable one. So the next time you find yourself with a handful of change, think about this story. Somewhere out there, a 2006 dime error could be waiting to be found, hiding in plain sight. And if you're lucky enough to spot it, you could be holding a coin valued between $38,000 and $108,000. A tiny treasure with a massive impact. And that's the beauty of numismatics. The thrill of the hunt, the joy of discovery, and the knowledge that history and value often lie where we least expect them. Imagine for a moment that you're fishing some spare change out of your pocket at the grocery store. The cashier hands you a dime, shiny and modern-looking, something you wouldn't think twice about because, after all, it's just 10 cents. You toss it into your change jar, maybe it rattles down into your car's cup holder, and you go about your day. But what if I told you that this ordinary-looking coin, if it happened to be one of the rare 2023 US dime era coins, could be worth between $26,000 and $82,000? That's right. A simple dime, something most of us ignore or even leave lying on the sidewalk, has the potential to be worth more than a brand new car, more than many people make in an entire year. It almost sounds unbelievable, but this is the magic of coin collecting, and today we're going to explore exactly why the 2023 dime era has collectors and treasure hunters buzzing with excitement. The year 2023 may not sound like a big deal in the numismatic world. After all, it's just last year, right? When we think of valuable coins, most of us imagine the 1800s Civil War era pieces or early 20th century designs like Mercury dimes or Buffalo nickels. But here's the thing, modern coins can be just as valuable, sometimes even more so, when they contain a significant error. And that's exactly what happened with a small batch of 2023 US dimes. These coins left the US Mint with mistakes that slipped past quality control. And now, instead of being worth 10 cents, they're commanding jaw-dropping sums at auctions and in private sales. But what exactly makes them so special? To answer that, let's take a step back and think about the minting process. Every coin starts as a blank planchet, which is then fed into massive presses that stamp the design with extreme pressure. Normally, the process is highly precise. The US Mint has been making coins for over 230 years, and by now you'd expect perfection. Yet errors still occur, whether it's from misaligned dies, double strikes, off-center strikes, missing details, or wrong planchets being used. These tiny mistakes create coins that look a little off, and for collectors, that's like finding a diamond in the rough. The 2023 dime error falls into this exact category. Reports from collectors and numismatic experts suggest that some of these coins were struck with off-center errors, others with partial missing designs, and a few with dramatic die breaks that left unusual raised marks on the surface. Imagine pulling a dime from your pocket and noticing that Roosevelt's face is slightly cut off on one side, or that part of the lettering is missing entirely. That's not damage from circulation, that's a minting error, and it instantly transforms a common coin into something extraordinary. Now, let's pause for a second and consider the psychology behind all this. Why would anyone pay tens of thousands of dollars for a dime? The answer is a mix of rarity, history, and demand. There are millions of regular 2023 dimes in circulation, but only a handful of errors. That scarcity is what drives prices up. Combine that with the fact that collectors love modern errors, they're easier to connect with because they're coins you could actually find in your pocket change, and suddenly you have a recipe for sky-high values. And let's not forget the thrill factor. Imagine telling your friends or family that the little dime you pulled out of a vending machine is worth $50,000. People love stories like that, and collectors love owning pieces with stories attached. It's not just about the coin. It's about the excitement of the hunt and the bragging rights of having something incredibly rare. Here's where it gets even more interesting. Auctions over the past year have shown just how wild the demand for these error coins has become. Some of the most pristine examples of the 2023 dime error have sold for as much as $82,000. Even lower-grade examples, coins that show wear from circulation, have fetched over $26,000. Think about that for a moment. A dime you might hand to a cashier for a pack of gum could actually cover several months of mortgage payments if it's the right one. This leads to a crucial point. How do you know if you have one of these dimes? That's the million-dollar question, or in this case, the $82,000 question. First, you need to carefully check any 2023 dime you come across. Look for details that seem off. Is the image of Roosevelt slightly cut off or shifted? Do the words Liberty or In God We Trust look incomplete or stretched? Is part of the torch and olive branch on the reverse missing or doubled? These are all signs of potential errors. And remember, it's not about wear and tear. These mistakes happen at the mint, so the odd appearance should look built in, not damaged. Collectors recommend using a magnifying glass or even a coin microscope to get a better look. Lighting is also important. Errors can be subtle, and you don't want to miss out because you only gave the coin a quick glance. If you suspect you've got one, the next step is to have it evaluated by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll authenticate the coin, confirm the error type, and assign it a grade, which can significantly impact its value. Now, here's something worth considering. Not every 2023 dime error will sell for the full $82,000. The final price depends on the type of error, the coin's condition, and how many similar examples are out there. But even the lower end of the spectrum, $26,000, is still life-changing money for most people. And that's what makes these coins so fascinating. They're like hidden treasures scattered throughout everyday life, waiting to be discovered by someone who simply takes the time to look. Let me tell you a quick story that really drives this point home. A collector in Florida recently went through a small jar of change that had been sitting on his desk for months. He almost didn't bother looking closely, but something about one dime caught his eye. Roosevelt's profile looked slightly off-center, just enough to make him suspicious. After sending it to PCGS, it was confirmed as a genuine 2023 off-center error, and when he put it up for auction, the coin sold for over $47,000. Just like that, a coin that had been sitting in a jar was transformed into a small fortune. Stories like this are what fuel the passion of numismatists and treasure hunters. They remind us that value can hide in plain sight, even in the smallest, most overlooked objects. And in today's world, where so many people are searching for financial opportunities, the idea that your spare change could hold a $50,000 dime is both thrilling and inspiring. So what's the takeaway here? It's simple, always check your change, especially your modern coins, because errors are not confined to the distant past. The 2023 dime error proves that even in the age of advanced technology, mistakes still happen at the mint, and those mistakes can turn into gold mines for the lucky few who find them. Think about it, $26,000 to $82,000 for a 10-cent coin. That's a return on investment unlike anything else. You don't have to buy stocks, you don't have to gamble, you just need to keep your eyes open. Every time you get a handful of change, take a moment to look closely. Who knows? The next rare 2023 dime could be sitting in your wallet right now. And that's the beauty of coin collecting. It's not just about owning rare metal. It's about the hunt, the thrill, and the possibility that something ordinary could turn out to be extraordinary. The 2023 US dime error is proof that numismatic treasures aren't only hiding in antique shops or historical collections. They're right here, in our pockets, waiting to be discovered. So the next time you hear that little clink of a dime hitting the counter, remember this. It could be more than just 10 cents. It could be worth tens of thousands of dollars. A hidden fortune disguised as pocket change, waiting for someone sharp enough to notice. And who knows, that someone might just be you.